So recently, a family member said that I remind her of Tony Soprano. How it happened was because I've been watching the series on DVD through Netflix, and I made a comment that spurred their comment, and here's how it happened. I had to take a friend of mine to meet with someone else, to have a meeting, a little sit down, so to speak, and to put it in mob terms and La Cosa Nostra terms. And this friend of mine was going there kind of as in a mentor fashion. It's hard to describe. It's a long story. I won't tell the whole story. Boring story. And my friend was going there for advice and some help of a kind, and meet with this person. And so we went there and we sat down. And I went there with him, but I didn't say anything really. I just sat there, for the most part, because it's my friend's deal. I sat there to listen, with my friend in this little talk we were having. Long story, like I say. And when I sat there, it was the first time I'd met this guy. Not my friend, but the guy he was talking to. And this guy seemed to be acting kind of strangely to me. He seemed to be very stiff and very, very quiet and cautious. Had a very cautious attitude, very quiet. And my friend had met with me before. I knew this guy. I didn't. So I knew of him. And afterwards, later on with my friend, I was saying, that guy seemed kind of strange. He was acting kind of strangely, in my opinion, a little odd, And so he seemed very strange. I said, he's always that strange. And my friend said, no, he's not generally that strange. I said, so he's acting strange because I was there, sitting in on the meeting. And he said, yeah, it kind of was. I said, you really? He said, yeah, I was. I said, well, what's the deal? I said, do you find me intimidating? Do I intimidate people? Is that the deal? I said, does he find me intimidating? He said, yeah, he did. He was very intimidated by you being there. I said, you're kidding me. He said, no, he really was. And I said, what's the deal? I said, what do you think? Does he think I am? Do you think I'm Tony Soprano or something? Do I, frighten people or something? He said, yeah, you do sometimes. You're very intimidating, and I don't really see myself that way. I know you don't. And I said, did I remind him of Tony Soprano or something? To which a female friend of mine said, yeah, that's exactly who you remind me of. You remind me of Tony Soprano. I don't think she was just talking about the fact that I'm a fat bastard. And I've had that happen before a few times in my life. And I wasn't smoking a cigar at the time, by the way. Tony Soprano smoked cigars. But I just thought it was rather amusing. People are funny that way in life. People don't see themselves, others see them sometimes. I don't find myself to be an intimidating persona, I think of myself as a nice, easygoing guy, though I've had people tell me I'm not. I'm so not. And I've got a former girlfriend said that one time. I said, I'm an easygoing guy. And she says, no, you're not. One of those interesting moments. We were actually lying in bed together afterwards, and she said, no, you're not. I said, what do you mean? He said, you are high-strung, Kel. You are a high-strung guy. I said, high-strung, really? He said, yeah, you're high-strung. I never thought of myself as high-strung before. But I had it once before where someone said I was intimidating, and I wasn't trying to be intimidating. My mere presence evidently affects some people that way. And this certainly was the case. My friend's mentor, or whatever you want to call this other guy, was mentoring me in something. He was obviously, I won't say terrified by my presence, but he was obviously worried. And I don't know why, because I wasn't threatening him or anything. I wasn't giving him, any bad look or anything. But so evidently, on some strange level, aside from being a fat bastard who smokes cigars, I reminded some people of Tony Soprano. And I've been watching that series again. I've watched it several times before. And I got to be honest with you, I really kind of attune with Tony Soprano. You wouldn't know this about me because you only see part of me in these videos, but Tony Soprano, I think, he was kind of a nice guy in general. You know, really a decent guy, a good guy, really, because he's a decent guy in life, surrounded by a bunch of insanity. You know, all of his family and his friends, his kids, and everybody else in that show are basically just causing him constant trouble all the time. I'm not saying that's the way my life is, but and he reacts to it. Sometimes in not such nice ways. Though I don't generally react to life in bad ways. I've had my fits of temper. I had one tonight, as a matter of fact, earlier. Not at a person, but at things that were going wrong in life. I got pretty pissed off. But I don't know. Maybe I see Tony Soprano differently than you do. I don't see him as a horrible criminal. I mean, he is a criminal and a mob boss, you know. But I see him as someone who's basically, if he weren't in the mob, he'd be a pretty decent guy generally. He's just going through life trying to deal with family and all this other stuff. Anyway, so evidently I remind some people of Tony Soprano. I was shocked when she said this. So that's exactly who you reminded me of. Like, really? I guess there are worse things to be similar to. Maybe. Not that I'm not an organized crime or anything. I guarantee you all my crimes have been completely unorganized. Not disorganized, mind you, but unorganized. Right, well, that's it. Little miss up from Tony Soprano, my buddy. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you later. Tony Soprano.